Hello, good afternoon, everyone who all are joining in and who may join later in the event today, the session today. This is your host, Himanshi Kaushik, and I heartily and sincerely welcome you all here. And before we move on, I hope that you all are doing good, happy, sound, and healthy at wherever you're taking this session slash webinar from. So today, I think you must have heard of this term called design. And when we talk about design, there's another term that comes along with that. That's called fashion. So it is vice versa. When we talk about fashion, somehow design also comes along with that, and same with the design. So today we are having a webinar on inclusive design. One size does not fit all. And for this, we have our expert here. He is Dale Carney certified aspiring fashion designing professional and an educator skilled in developing fashion, textile prototypes, and devising new, innovative, and exemplary pedagogy and learning techniques. Please welcome Mr. Akash Rathore. He's also an assistant professor and head of department in design. So, sir, I welcome you in the webinar.
Thank you very much.
And I welcome all the participants also in the webinar. And before we move on, before I request Akash sir to take over the screen, I want all the participants to know that now you can write your questions in Q&A box or in the chat box, or at the end of the session, you can raise your hand as well so that we can allow you to talk, to have a chat session with our expert directly. So with this, sir, I hand over the screen to you and looking forward for an amazing session.
Okay, so hello everyone. A very good afternoon to all. I hope you all are doing well. It's such a lovely weather today. It's raining since yesterday, and so weather is quite nice. I hope it's great at your place as well. Okay, so Himanshi has already introduced you with the topic, inclusive design. One size doesn't fit all, but here I have written inclusive design, does one size fits all? Because I want you to think. Before we start with this session, I have few requests from you. First of all, I don't want it to be a passive session where I am just, being a orator, I'm just, delivering the content and you're just, listening passively. So I want an interaction. So it would be great if you can, speak. I don't know if you are allowed to speak. Although I would love to speak because I would love to hear to you, because there is an activity at the end, which is quite interesting. And you will see that, you will be able to appreciate the true beauty of inclusive design once you will do that activity. Okay. So when we talk about inclusive design, first of all, the very first question, which I want you to think, I don't know if you are allowed to talk again. I mean, if you can speak. But yes, Himanshi.
Yeah, very sorry to interrupt. Yes, sir, they can speak, just that they need to raise their hand so that we can allow them to speak.
Okay. So the very first question, which I want you to ask from yourself is, what makes us unique as an individual? Yes, anybody? What makes us unique as a human? Or there are, so many people, I don't know the exact number, there are so many students, aspiring professionals, listening to this webinar. So how one individual is different from another? So I hope you have, some, answers in your mind. So if I can see some, chat box, I don't know. Okay. So you can see that there are, certain differences that makes us all unique. And it is somehow our abilities to perform certain tasks. That is, what makes us different. One of you might be, very good at sketching. Another might be, an average. The same average student the student who is average in sketching might be very good in, pattern making or, making a garment. So the person who is ace in sketching, he might not be very good in, constructing. So it's our abilities that makes us unique. So as a designer, we should always look for the abilities of people. Like, while we design any artifact, be it a fashion design, like a garment, or be it anything, for example, you have this bottle. So we have to look for the abilities of different people. Unless we don't respect the abilities or understand the abilities of the people, like how much they are capable of, performing a function, or can people, or people or individual from, different origins, different backgrounds can wear the same shirt I'm wearing. So these are, some of the questions which we need to ask. Okay. But let's face it, as designers, most of the time we work in silence. We never bother to, most of the times, and I'm not saying that it is conscious. Most of the times it's unconsciously. We try to design something for someone, keeping in mind our abilities. For example, if I want to design a toy for, not a toy, for example, a shirt for, for a client. So I will try to design that shirt keeping in my capability. Like, for example, I have, two hands working properly. I have, I'm totally capable of, wearing this shirt on my own. So I will also try to, keep these considerations in my mind before designing it for the client. But this is not the case, every time. But there's the problem. If we use our own abilities, or if I'll try to make everything keeping in mind my abilities as a baseline, okay, Akash Rathore, you can, perform, you are absolutely all right. You have two legs, two hands, you can see, walk, you can think. So, the other person is the same. So if you like it, you can wear it easily. So other person can do as well. So if we will follow this approach, we will actually exclude so many people from the, in the appropriation of, the design of the artifact, whatever, we have designed. So now what is the solution? Now what can be done? Now, this problem was pertinent. It was there for quite a long time. Then, lot of intellectuals, designers, they came together and they thought of they thought that what can be the solution for it. So they came up with this term, which is known as inclusive design. Now, inclusive in the word itself, it means, where everybody is included. You have inclusive, inclusion, and the exclusion. Okay? So inclusive design means the motto, or the main aim of inclusive design is to develop goods that appreciates and empower people from all backgrounds and abilities. Like, irrespective of, it's not the case that, okay, only an engineer can use this design, or a doctor, or somebody from a US can only use this design, keeping in mind the literacy rate, or probably the vast the design culture they are into. So it respects people from all backgrounds and abilities. Now, how this thing came into picture? Now, you all know World Health Organization. World Health Organization the first definition, if you say, it says disability as personal attribute. And on the right-hand side, it says disability as context dependent. So there was a time when even WHO, the World Health Organization, all the designers, people, intellectuals, they used to think that disability as a personal attribute. Like, for example, if there is an artifact and I'm not able to use it, or if there is any design, I'm not able to use it, it's because of my disability. So that was, before the, when this inclusive design came into picture. Now, when this inclusive design came into picture, it totally changed the definition of, the World Health Organization. And they said disability as context dependent, means disability is not just a health problem. It's not just that, if I met with an accident and I have lost my limb, so this is my health problem. No, it is a complex phenomenon. So the interaction of the features of the body and the features of the society in together, they decide whether a person is disabled or not disabled. So it is not only the health attribute, it is also the spaces, the products that we design, they also decide that whether a person is disabled or not. I hope this is clear. So you can see before, the inclusive design, they say disability is personal health condition. So if my personal health condition is not fine, I am, disabled. But now it says that if the human interactions, the interactions I'm talking about, the day-to-day interactions with different artifacts, a mobile, a bag, a spoon to eat, a bottle to drink, water. So you can say when you have the mismatched human interactions, then it leads to disability. So the inclusive design focus on decreasing these, or minimizing or negating these mismatched human interactions. Okay, so now as you can see that most of the time we talk about a design, one size fits all. Majority of the time we design with this principle that this is the design, there is this bottle, and it can be used by everyone. So it is one size fits all. But inclusive design says one size fits one. That is one of the internal principle of the inclusive design. Now, Microsoft, the company, you all know, it has come up with 3 basic principles of inclusive design, which are most widely used in the academia. Those 3 are, the first one is acknowledge exclusion. The second is take advice from others. And the third is solve for one and extend to many. So these are the 3 principles. Now we will dig in a little deeper, one principle at a time. Okay, so now see students, before we understand the inclusive design, or what my final product will be, or what the design of my final product will be, we need to recognize the exclusion. So we must acknowledge the bias and recognize exclusions that happen because of mismatches between people and experience. So because we think about other people the way we are. If I'm capable of doing something, I think that, okay, the other person can also think. Now, if I like, probably this, the color or the shape of the bottle, or I can, easily hold it. So other people can, easily hold it. So this is my bias, and it leads to a lot of exclusions where we do not respect the ideas, the beliefs, the patterns, the habits of, the other people, where we miserably go wrong, and which leads to either the failure of the product or less adoption of the product. So the first one is we need to recognize the exclusion, like in what all aspects people are being, excluded from, the decision-making process. Second is learn from, diversity. Now, if we want to know the exclusions, how we will be able to know, like, in what way any individual has been, excluded. So we have to learn from, diversity, or something, a term we call as empathy or, empathizing with the people, where we put ourselves in the other people's shoes and try to think from their mind. We think, okay, if I'm in that situation, how I will think. So in inclusive design, we try to put people in the center throughout the process. Their fresh, diverse perspectives are the key to true insight. Unless you do not talk to people, understand people, believe me, nobody gonna, buy your product. Because obviously, if we are not, consulting people, we are gonna miss lot of, insights which we get when we talk to people. So learning from diversity is the second, principle. Now, the third is, which is, one of my, the favorite, solve for one, extend to many. Now, every individual has abilities and, limitations. I might be not a very good swimmer. I don't know swimming. So that is one of my limitations. I am a very good, I'm very good in, a design thinking. So that is one of my ability. So creating products for people with permanent disabilities creates results that benefit everyone. Now I'll give you a, a live, I mean, not live, like a visual example of this. Like how when we create a product, any product, keeping in mind a person who is permanently disabled because of, by birth or, probably due to an accident. So when you design something for a person with permanent disability, how that product can be used or is beneficial for everybody. Okay, so how that design can be used. Okay, so this is, the example. Now, if if I'll see your age group, you all are, Gen Zs. So you probably have not, used the older, the mobile phones which used to come, the Nokia 3310 or, 1100. So at that time, whenever we used to, or even if you talk about, the YouTube or, all the channels where we see, all the entertainment stuff, like, the movies in different languages or, different, the comedy shows or whatever, there was no auto, the captions. The captions were not there before. But now if you see, whenever you go to YouTube, there is a, option of, the captions, auto captions, whether you want to, see, you want to read whatever the people are saying through the captions below. So now you can see this. You will be surprised to know that, this feature was actually meant for somebody who cannot hear, who has a hearing impairment. So now you can see somebody thought of a person that, okay, a person is hard of hearing, he cannot hear, he or she cannot hear. So what can be the solution? Now what can be done? Now a person who is, probably, disabled, like, who cannot hear, want to see a movie. You also want to see a movie. But obviously if he cannot hear, so, how to make sense out of that? So they thought, but a person has, the vision is perfectly all right. So why not let him read, and obviously emotions, and, you can see like what people are saying, who is saying, and through auto captions, he can, easily read. So you can see that originally this idea of auto captions was for the people who have the permanent disability, who cannot hear. But now this auto captions can be also used by the people in the airports or in any of the, if you have gone to a factory, like people are working in the factory, there is a lot of noise, you cannot hear. This is, you can say, the temporary disability. The first one where it's written hard of hearing means the permanent disability. It is a permanent, a person was born with it. Now the second is situation is the temporary disability, where I have, gone to a place where there is a lot of noise and I want to see something. So the same solution, which was originally meant for a person with permanent disability, will be at my ease. I will look at the auto captions and I can, easily get the meaning. This is the temporary disability. Third is the situational disability. For example, teaching a child to read. Now, as a parent, we want our children to read. So suppose he is not able to get what a person is saying through hearing. So at least, he can read, he can see, okay, the spellings. Okay? So you can see these are, some of the examples. Now, when you design something for a person with permanent disability, how the same solution, is beneficial for, different people. Another example can be, if now there are, lot of K-pop culture and Korean culture, I personally not very much familiar with it, but in my department, every second student is into K-pop culture and all. So now sometimes I love to, listen to that, Korean music, but obviously I don't understand what they're saying. So again, the captions can again, help me to make some meaning out of that song. So you can see again, the same solution can be used. Now in this situation where I am listening to a music, which is, or watching a movie in different language, I am disabled in terms of that I cannot make sense out of it. I can hear, but I cannot make sense out of it, or I cannot perform the function. The function is entertainment. I cannot entertain myself. So this is again a situational disability, and the same solution of auto captions will be there for, comforting me, and I can, easily make a sense out of this, the movie. So you can see the beauty of constraints. Designing for people with permanent disabilities can seem like a significant constraint, but the resulting designs can actually benefit a much larger number of people. Okay, so this was the third principle: solve for one, and then the same solution can be extended to many people. Okay, so I hope you are, clear up till here. So now I have this, activity for you based on, how much you have got. So you can see before we move to that, activity, there are three principles. The first is recognize exclusion. We need to see that, in what aspects the people have been excluded in the design, the decision-making process when it comes to product development. The second is the learn from diversity, where we try to understand, talk to different people, travel throughout the world, understanding, people, learning from the diversity. And the third is solve for one and extend to many. Okay, now there is an activity. Okay, so now what you have to do is, there is this, Luke Erickson. He is a British bodybuilder. He was born like, this, if you can see the image, he has a permanent disability. So now what you have to do, you have to identify any simple 5 common problems that Mr. Luke might be, facing in his day-to-day life. Once you will, come up with, the problems, then you have to come up with, a simple solution for any one of the problem. And then you have to tell that, how that solution can be used by, different people. Might be in a situational, a context, or temporary context. Means temporary disability, where, you are disabled temporarily. For example, I got, I got a fracture. Okay, so obviously that is again a temporary disability. And the third is, for example, I'm carrying a baby. That is again this is a situational disability, because obviously I cannot use both the hands. I have to use one hand only. So this is the activity and you have 5 minutes. If I get any hands up, or, if you are doing it, how I can make it. Okay, again, in this activity, you have to identify any 5 common problems faced by this individual, which is in front of you in this picture. He was born like this, it's a permanent disability. So once you will identify 5 common problems, you have to give or come up with a solution for any one of the problem. And then you have to tell how that solution can be used in different situation, or how that solution can be used by, different people. Yes, so it's 2:29. So you have, 4 minutes now. I will see this, after, once I'll finish. So if anybody of you wants to show me this activity, they can show, or you can do this in, in your free time. Just try to do this, and you'll see the magic. Like, how this simple solution for, a person with permanent disability can be used by, different people. That's the beauty of, the inclusive design. So, okay, I think if we'll move, okay, now let me, okay. Let me.
Sir, we did get one response from Amrit. So
okay.
please, the problem can be lifting heavy stuffs.
Okay. So what can be the solution for it, Amrit?
Correct. Amrit, we're waiting for the solution. If you want, we can allow you to talk also. If yes, please just respond to me in the chat box so that I can allow you to have a direct chat session with our expert here. And to all the, okay, Amrit says a stretchable band.
Okay, a stretchable band can be used. Okay, so yeah. Amrit, yes, obviously he's a bodybuilder, so he will have, a lot of problem in holding things. Okay, probably on his, the right hand. So a stretchable, a mask or, tape, something like that, can be used. Now, can you tell me any like the same solution in what other situation other people can use the same solution, like that stretchable band?
Right. And before we get to Amrit's response, we have another response from Harsha. So the problem is driving vehicle is the problem, and solution he's shared is artificial hands.
Artificial hands. Okay, fine, good.
So we both, we want to know now these artificial hands or the stretchable band, where normal people can use it, other than the impaired people, where it can be used. You can respond in the chat box, guys. So Amrit says a stretchable band can be used to pull body weights of heavy people.
Okay, yes. So you can see how, this the solution, which is you just came up with, a person with a permanent disability can be used by, people in different contexts. Okay, so I hope you are doing this activity. Let me, move. See, now, if you see the permanent on your left side, if you see, they have divided this chart. It's a beautiful chart, you can see, and they have tried to give this example in every sense that we have, the touch, which is, gustation, the gustation. Then you have the see, the vision, the hear, and the speak. Now you can see when it comes to touch, you have a person who only has one arm, a permanent disability, like like this, like him. Now, if you come up with a solution for this individual, you can also solve the problem of a person who is temporarily disabled due to an arm injury. And then the same solution can be used by a person who is disabled due to some situation. He is carrying, a child. Okay, so obviously this hand is blocked. Now again, disability. So you can see that is when it comes to the touch. Second is see. See is a person is blind. He cannot see, permanent disability. You came up with a solution. Now the temporary is cataract. When we reach at a certain age, it happens majorly in, elderly people. They get cataract and they cannot see. Now the same solution can be used by them. The third is a distracted driver. Okay? We have come across so many, distracted drivers. Okay? So same solution might be used by, the people. Similarly, when it comes to hearing, a person is deaf. That is the permanent. Now, many a times we get, ear infections whenever we go for, swimming in, public or, common pools, you get, a lot of ear infection. Now, in that case also, you cannot hear. That is a temporary disability. The same solution can be used. And the third is the situational, the bartender. Because the music is so loud, you cannot hear that, I need a tequila probably. You cannot hear that. So you can see that is, when it comes to the situational. And when it comes to the speaking, a person who cannot speak, that is, you come up with a solution for this permanent disability. Now, temporary is laryngitis. Everyone goes through, when you get the laryngitis, it's very hard to understand what people are saying. And the third is, there are certain people whose vocal cords are, quite heavy. The accent is quite heavy. So you can see this is the beauty of inclusive design, that when you design any artifact, any product, any service, keeping in mind a people with permanent disability, you tend to benefit wide, plethora of, people, be they are into a temporary, a temporary context, like temporarily disabled, or, due to some situation. So now if you see the benefits of inclusive design, so first of all, increased access. Now, if you see, if I have made a design which can be used by so many people, obviously it will increase the access. The people can, anybody can use this design. Second is reduced friction. Friction in every term. Friction majorly not in the science term. That is in term of, using that product. So obviously a person can use that product with more ease. Third is more emotional, context. Obviously, when a person, especially, a permanent disabled person, will be able to use or, access different spaces without any, friction, they will feel, good. Recently, I mean, I'll give you an example how they will feel good. Recently, our school, we organized a 48-hour hackathon where we invited, there is this at Jalandhar. There is this organization who look after the people with, the spinal cord injury. So we had almost 25, students who came, who have, some of them were born that way. Some got, due to met with an accident, got spinal cord injury, are on the wheelchair. So we were, we were supposed to design a garment for them, which is known as the adaptive clothing, which they can easily wear. And one of the rule of the, the competition was they should be able to wear it on their own. I mean, without any assistance. And in those 48 hours, our brilliant students came up with such beautiful designs, very practical adaptive clothing. And when we saw the people wearing those designs on their own, they were so emotional. I think unse zyada we were emotional to see them, because, some of them were like, before this, we were never able to wear something, without anybody's help. So this is the first time, and we quite liked, the fit or, the whatever. So you can see that is more, the more emotional context, because people with, disability, they are very, I mean, imagine yourself, perfectly all right, not, but, and then suddenly not able to, to do, or you're not the same person. when I mean, in the cases where you met with an accident, or any other, I mean, so forth. So that increases, it makes you emotionally more strong. Okay, now why inclusive design? Why I took this topic, which is so close to my heart. See, students, you all, I don't know what is your future goals to I mean, you want to do a job or you want to start your own business. If some of you want to go be an entrepreneur, you want to start your own business, so you may look at inclusive design, a great start. If you talk about in India, hardly one or two brands are there who are catering the needs of the people with special needs. And in abroad, there are only very few brands who are catering the needs. And if you see the market, there is a lack of fashionable garments for the people, I mean people with special needs. If you talk about if I'll talk in context of the India, even the Indian ethnic wear, you do not have any nice Indian ethnic wear which can be worn by people probably on a wheelchair. Now if I'll talk about traditional ethnic wear, it's so heavy, so bridal, with so much of the embellishments. A person cannot wear it, I mean, who is disabled. So there's a huge market. So you can see worldwide about 1 billion, that is 15% individuals face some form of disability, and 20% have severe functional limitations where they cannot perform the function. If we talk about India, in India by 2050, you can say 323 million, which is 19.1% of a total population, which is a huge number, will be 60 years and above. And people 60 years and above, lot of the time you have the temporary disability or the situational disability. You all have probably seen your grandparents facing lot of troubles performing day-to-day functions. So that is also a disability. First of all, one thing I want to make it clear, like now, lot of people think disability means where a person has probably no hands or cannot see or something like that. Disability is a term, a generic term which we use when we cannot perform a function. If I'm not able to perform any function, keeping in mind my age, my ability, my structure, it means I am disabled. Now there are lot of we have seen so many times, like for example in India, the average women height is not much. So and if you see the traditional Indian kitchens where you have cupboards and you have to go quite upper. Okay, so in that context, probably a woman who is an average 5'5", and so accessing that cupboard is impossible, and it's a disability. It's a situational disability. See, she's in a situation where she has to take something, but she cannot because of her height. So that is the opportunity. So you can see there is a lot of huge market when it comes to the inclusive design. Second is, if you talk about the future trends. Now I don't know how many of you have tried the virtual fitting rooms, or how many of you have tried the virtual I mean if you visit Lenskart, they have an option of where they scan your face and then tell, okay, this frame will look nice on you, or even H&M has their virtual fitting rooms where you can just select a garment, it just displays on your body so that you can see how it will look. It is also a sort of an idea based on inclusive design. Now a lot of people cannot, if you talk about India, where the infrastructure is not at all disabled friendly, people don't, I mean, they cannot, I mean, they can't commute to the malls or, different public spaces. So the virtual fitting rooms is a great option now, and it can be used by anybody. Now, if I was perfectly all right, met with an accident, cannot walk, so I can, try virtual fitting rooms. Okay, so you can see virtual fitting rooms is again one of the concept not directly related to fashion, like a fashion industry as a whole, which can be used. Second is Tommy Hilfiger adaptive line. Now, and please do search this Tommy Hilfiger adaptive line on Google. It's the same Tommy Hilfiger brand. They came up with an adaptive line. This collection was all about, catering the needs of, people with disabilities. So it was based on inclusive design. So I will highly recommend you to, to see it, because this is one brand which you see quite often. And I would suggest you to do a comparative study. Just try to analyze a simple Tommy Hilfiger, collection and the adaptive line one, and just see in what way the designers have tried to, bring solution, for the people with, any sort of disability. And the second brand which I would like you to, search is Pleats Please by Issey Miyake. Issey Miyake he recently passed away. He was one of the legendary fashion designer from Japan. Who his brand is, Pleats Please. Now just see the beauty of these clothes. It can be worn by anybody. No closures, no zippers, no hooks, just a simple plain fabric with pleats, and it can be worn by, people from extra small to extra large. So that is, it include a wide variety of, people and, the abilities. Okay, so that's all from, my side. Now, I would suggest if you can, I would request if you can, ask questions.
Sure. Thank you, sir. First of all, before we move on to the questions, sir, thank you so much for coming in and for crediting your time, for giving in your valuable time and experience through the session today. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you very much.
And now I would want to request everyone, if you have any question regarding anything, you can just post in the chat box, Q&A box, or you can simply raise your hand so that you can chat with our expert here. And meanwhile, so they write their questions. We had few questions from our registrants as well. So
okay.
Yeah, so they are very, general questions that come in. So this one question came. Okay, it is anonymous. So it says how to think differently other than people. So I think when we talk about the design, it's like you have to think differently. I do not know if it is a myth or not. Like you have to think out of the box. So is it like we have to think out of the box to be able to create a design for certain someone, or is it just a myth?
See, students, what in my experience, what I have experienced so far, I've met all the intellectuals or great people I have met, I have analyzed you. One thing is there that thinking different, thinking different means you are being creative, and creativity, yes, partly innate, like you are born with it. Sometimes it's in your genes, and it is acquired as well. You acquire it with time. So I won't talk about people who are blessed. Okay, I will talk about when you have to acquire, So the only thing to acquire that, the creativity or the traits that will lead to creativity or think different is observe. Observation is the best phenomenon. Unless you do not observe your surroundings, your people, what products they are using, how they are using, in what way they are using, what are their facial expressions and emotions when they are using, you cannot, think different. So unless we won't, broaden our visual and design culture, we won't be able to think different. Because to think different, first of all, we need to see that what already exists. Okay? Because majority of the time it happens, you have a problem, you come up, you think of a solution, and then you think it's already there. Okay, this solution, it's already there. This is because we don't know. So until unless you talk to people, read, observe, you won't be able to see, to find out that what already exists. And once you know that, you will, move ahead further.
I think it's basically finding a problem, as you were guiding also in the session, and creating a solution of that same. Sir, this one question again came from anonymous attendee, and it is like, is LPU good college for fashion designing course? Please share some thoughts about the same.
Yes. See, students, I won't say that, any college is good or, bad. All colleges are good. Okay? At the end, it depends on you. Now, but if I'll talk about, LPU, yes, we do have the world's best infrastructure. If I'll talk about, design, we have one of the state of the art, infrastructure. We have students from, all the states of India, different, countries. We have state of the art technology, all the machines. We present our collection at, a Delhi Times Fashion Week. Next time we're gonna go a little more. There is another great news, coming from our fashion school. I can't disclose it now, but keep looking at our, official page on Instagram. You will come to know. That's a brilliant platform. You will see that, what brilliant platform you can get as a student if you join LPU. We do prepare our students for, the industry. So our students are working on best companies. We have the packages of 18 lakhs per annum, like LPA. So far, we have students have got in some of the best companies. We have the best. Our students go on the best internships and the best designers. We have the most inclusive, a school in whole LPU, whether it comes to anywhere. We welcome people from all, on every sphere. We never, the least discriminating, the school we have. But the whole LPU vibe is different.
Indeed, sir. And sir, extending this, there's one question from Amrit Raj. So I just want to know if we can have this. So basically, Amrit wants to know, can we see some designed clothes which is for disabled people, as an example? So maybe in the next session that we're gonna have,
yes, definitely,
we can maybe show a little about this also. Amrit, I would request you to kindly explore the site. I will be showing you at the end in this next 2-3 minutes. So I will be showing you the site where you can just check that we are having a webinar planned as well, and you can register, and hence you can join that session, and sir will be there to show you, of course, the design clothes and the topic that will be told in the webinar.
Yes, and in addition to this, Amrit, if you will just Google, a Tommy Hilfiger adaptive line, the whole collection will come in front of you along very nicely. They have, explained the features as well, that how it can be worn with, somebody who is on the wheelchair. That is one. There are, certain clothes where now, if you see the people who are, blind, they can only read through the braille, which is through touch. So now there are, lot of clothes that have come. Now, when a person is blind, he cannot identify between different colors. Obviously, they cannot different colors. So now what designers are doing, they are actually, encrusting, or through, the 3D printing, they actually have, like, for example, the way we write blue in braille, they have that on the garment, so that a person can identify, okay, it is blue, it is red, it is green. So that is another, technology that is coming, like 3D printing in, the inclusive design.
And in addition to that, they won't need anybody's help even, to recognize what they want to wear and however they want to wear it. So, okay. So if anyone has any other question, you can, Bubbleen, okay, you raised your hand. So I just allowed you to talk in here. If you could please unmute yourself and have a chat session and the question if you have. Please write in the chat box if you have any other question, all the attendees. And if not, then so this one question came for the admission process, basically, that like I mean, if I get the gist of it, is what is the fee of this fashion design course, and is it expensive or not? So for that, sir, I would require your permission to show them little about the site as well, like
Yes,
how
you can. You
they
may.
can, right, how they can take admissions. So just in a minute, I think Bubbleen, it's not gonna ask the question. Okay, so for all the admission related, okay, Bubbleen, I got it. Okay, so all the admission related queries, this is the one shot resolution. So basically what you need to do is you just simply need to go to lpu.in, and once you go to this lpu.in, as sir is already telling that we have different things that are coming up, so you can explore the site in here, and I promise you won't regret it. Please kindly explore the site, right? So this is the interface that will be coming in front of you. Now these are all the advancements and opportunities that our students have created for themselves and for the students who are going to join in the coming years. Now moving to the admission queries, and before that I would want to show you where you can find different webinars that are already enlisted. So you go to this admission here, and at the left hand side there is a page called LPU's Edufair webinars page. So once you click on that, we have different webinars that are already planned, and most probably they are of course, I mean, just in a moment it will be, yeah. Okay, so see, there are already different webinars that are planned. So you can, this is the webinar that I was talking about. So you can register for this webinar when sir will be joining again for the next session, and we can discuss more of things there. Okay, and you can register for other webinars as well. These are all free, and you can gain as much as knowledge as you want. Okay, now moving back to the admissions. So I simply go to the admissions, and once I go to the admissions, I can see these all segregated programs right here that are very beautifully adjusted. You can see after 12th, after graduation, after postgrad, 10th, diploma. I mean, they're very much segregated here, right? And I'm assuming that you're somebody who's done your 12th grade and wants to take an admission in the undergraduate program, right? So you simply go to the after 12th and undergraduate regular programs. So once you go to the regular programs, there will be a whole lot of disciplines that would be visible to you. You name any of the discipline and we have it here. See, this is what I was talking about. We have several disciplines: engineering, agriculture, sciences, history, sociology, fashion design. So if I click on fashion design, these are all the programs that are offered under that particular discipline: BAC, B design, and you just click on any of the programs. So student who had any query regarding the fee or is it expensive or not, you simply go to your particular course and you simply click on that. So if I clicked on this B design, right? So here you can find the duration, that is 4 years, 8 semesters. And these are the highlighted options, which would actually give you all the details of course that you want. So program details would give you eligibility, whether you are eligible for a particular course or not. Okay? And moving on to the highlight options, this will actually tell you what all researches, what all student achievements are there, what all rankings are there in context with the course, of course, or the discipline of the university. Now, going to the fee part, the question, is it expensive or not? So here, actually, you can find it out. So this is the fee, 1,20,000 per semester, but this is not the general fee that our students pay. Why? Because they get a lot of scholarships, and the basis of the scholarship are already given here. We have 3 categories, and based on that, you can avail up to 35% of the scholarship. And we have different criteria for you to be able to get the scholarship. So you can just check in here. We have different criteria. So you can just check in whichever criteria you fall in, you can simply apply for that scholarship, right? And apart from these scholarships, we have other scholarships as well, on the basis of, okay, so basically if you have been a part of an entrepreneur, or maybe let's say an innovation or startup program, or if you have been a topper of any education board, you are more than welcome here. And LPU does provide some of the financial aid. Now is very much important thing. The last date of admission is 10th July. So students, please, I urge you to kindly explore the site, take admission, take, test at least, and register yourself, and please come here in the university. And how you can apply is simply click on the apply now option. and there are some bare minimum requirements. And once you fill in those, you click on submit, and after that you'll be given your dashboard. And from there, you can simply apply for the course or the test if you want to. So I hope that I've given you a little brief as to what is needed to be done in order for you to take admission in this particular course or any course for that matter. So if there's anything that I could not tell, you can just write in the Q&A box or chat box, or you can schedule a call with us. It is there on the site. You can either WhatsApp us or have a live video counseling session as well. So there are our esteemed counselors will be here at this end, and they will be resolving the queries if you have any. So I hope that I've given you a brief as to what is needed to be done. And if you have any other question, okay, sir, this question is for you. It says, after admission, we get project works and other things. So do they have to pay for those projects, or they get with the course itself?
Projects, I mean, a little...
Maybe internship, maybe all the things that they get after joining the course.
No, see, let me answer. Like, obviously, once you join the course, okay, so obviously you have the regular assignments and the exams. That is one part. Right. Okay, so in that, whatever the the kharcha, like whatever whatever it will happen, all the expenses that you have to bear. Obviously, if you have to make a garment, that is one of the the assignment that you have to bear. But when it comes to the the internships and the craft documentations, so obviously you don't have to pay anything. Okay, we have a dedicated career guidance cell where we cater your needs. In the first term, itself, we have a career a program orientation program. Where we see that what are your areas of interest. We also do a proper profile mapping, where we ask individual student what are your strengths, the weaknesses, a SWOT analysis, and accordingly we groom you. So our students, they do the internships like which are paid as well, as well as non-paid. So that's not the case. It all depends on your capability.
Correct. So students, I hope the resolution you've got is what you wanted. And I believe, sir, we are done with the questions. And with this, I would want to take your permission to wrap this webinar. So yes, can I?
Thank you very much. Yes.
So at last, sir, thank you so much for coming in and for giving resolution to the queries, and a special word of thanks for the way that you've explained throughout the section. Thank you so much for joining in. And yes, thanks to all the participants as well for coming in, for giving in your questions, for being so interactive. So with this, I just want to say that kindly explore the site, apply for register for different webinars if you want. And at last, I would want to say that if you've missed any part of this session will be uploaded on YouTube as well and on the site. So you can check it there. So with this, I take your leave. Until next webinar, stay safe and stay healthy. Thank you so much for joining in. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, everyone.